Hello YouTube, it's me John Avenger once again and welcome to another video game month. This is an actual movie, and I put that in quotation marks. A 2006 martial arts action film based on the Tecmo Team Ninja fighting game franchise Dead or Alive. It is directed by Corey Yoon, the director of the first Transporter movie, written by J.F. Lawton and Adam and Seth Gross. This wasn't written. This was freaking Michael Bay's backup team and Weinstein shit. Yes, Josh, this has Weinstein shit in it. So if you're like women should be abused or whatever, there's no abuse here, but there's so much misogynist shots in this movie that you're gonna hate it. And that is the 2006 live action Dead DOA movie, Dead or Alive. What a piece of garbage this was. So freaking shitty. This movie is not even that long, so I can't say it's as bad. Assassin's Creed was worse because that movie was an hour and 40 minutes. This is only 1 hour and 19 minutes. It's a lot shorter. This film cost $30 million. Where the hell did the money go? $30 million for this god-awful CGI fest with some of the worst effects I've seen in a video game movie. And that's saying a lot because some of the early 90s ones had horrible effects. In the film, the fighters are invited to Dead or Alive, an invitational martial arts contest, kind of like in Mortal Kombat, except this is sanitized PG-13 bullshit instead of and a ripoff of the Matrix and some other films. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, yeah, it's just awful. The 4 female fighters, which is not a problem, but I'll get to that, begin as rivals but work together to uncover the secret that the organizer of the tournament is trying to hide. It features an ensemble cast and has various appearances from characters from the game. Kasumi, played by Devon Aoki, she's decent. I like her for what she is. Christy Allen, Holly Vance, she's awful. An Australian model that can't act. That's all I'm going to say. And Tina Armstrong, Jamie Presley. The southern fried version of Margot Robbie and Samara Weaving. She was miscast here because they play her up as this badass. And she's not a fighter, guys. She's supposed to be a wrestler. Doesn't do any wrestling movies in the entire movie. She's doing all this Matrix shit and kung fu or martial arts that comes out of nowhere. And she could beat up men like she's Cynthia Rothrock. You ain't no Cynthia Rothrock, Jamie Presley. Principal photography took place in 2005 in Bangkok, Guilin, and Hengdian and Hong Kong. They wasted their time because this movie's horrible. It was released in September 7th of 2006 in Australia, but later released in the UK in September 15th, October in Germany, blah, blah. And it was a commercial and critical failure. Yeah, no shit. The movie cost so much money, yet where did the money go? It didn't go to the effects, because the effects are horrible. And it made $7.7 million worldwide. And they say Ant-Man 3 was a flop. That movie had a budget. It made its budget back twice over. This movie bombed big time. It had to make at least 7 times its budget worldwide just to break even. Yeah, making it a box office bomb. Due to the film's poor performance, the United States release was delayed a year and got a limited release in June 15, 2007 by the Weinstein Company. That's why there's a lot of ass shots in this movie, because Harvey Weinstein produced this freaking movie. His company made this shitty film. That's why every scene you see a woman, there's literally a woman, Christy, when they introduce her, she's like naked with a freaking robe on. Hey, Karen could pull this off better because she's a sexier woman. And she's putting underwear on. It's like the scene in Basic Instinct, except it's not R-rated, so you don't see anything. And they try to do a boob shot and you don't see it. And then she jumps on a motorcycle and they show her ass. I'm like, guys, are you really this desperate to show women's bodies? Here, it's really forced. Same thing with Jamie Presley. You see her on a boat, and then they show her legs up close of her legs, and there's ass shots. They're playing volleyball, like in the game. I get it. There's a volleyball game of Dead or Alive, and they're playing. That's accurate to the game. But then there's ass shots every 5 minutes. And I'm like, for God's sake, we get it. These are women. They're estrogen-filled, beautiful creatures. But do you have to show an ass shot this close? No. It's forced. This is Batman and Robin shit. And also, the other girl, Sarah Carter. Is she Canadian? Yeah. She does the voice. No, she's not in Rick and Morty. She was in Smallville. She did Wishmaster 3. That was decent. Was better than this shit. Final Destination 2. I know I've seen her in some. She at least she had a career after this. She got over this. She's done some television shows. She was Grace Gibbons on The Flash, Cicada, and was nominated for a Teen Choice Awards. She was a lot better in that than this shit, I'll tell you that much. She's been married to a man. Well, she did fine. She was Helena. She was Helena Douglas, the daughter of the DOA TEC's founder. Natasha Malthy was Ayane, a ninja assassin who just briefly appears every now and then to show that she's still alive. You know, she talks to Kasumi every chance she gets. She has purple hair, of course, because subtlety is not this director's high point. And you have King Kasugi as Ryu Hayabusa. He did okay. Matthew Marston, not a fan. I saw him in Anacondas 2. I told you my feelings on him. Eric Roberts, what the hell happened to you, buddy? You went from best of the best to this shit, and then you did Ape vs. Monster, your absolute worst freaking movie. Yes, his worst. His absolute freaking worst, because he doesn't care, he's laughing, he's doing that for a paycheck, and that has some of the worst effects I've ever seen. But this is no better. This is a bad movie. Oh, I know who Weatherby is. I recognize him. He's the guy that's in the True Lies TV show. That is way better than this shit. I recognize him. I'm like, I know this guy's face. Did he work with Michael Bay? No, it's the guy that's the main guy from True Lies. See that show. Forget this movie even existed, because this movie has way worse effects and fight scenes. I swear some of the fight scenes in this movie are 5 seconds. When they get to the preliminary matches in the quarterfinals, before they get to the finals when they fight each other, the fight scenes are 5 seconds. They knock someone out and then it's over. I'm like, the game has way longer fight scenes than this. Also, who was the black guy in the movie? You had Kevin Nash as Bass Armstrong, professional wrestler, of course, because he really is an overprotective father of Tina. Who was the black guy? Is he even here? Wait, no, not Kevin Nash. I know who Kevin Nash is. Is it Brian J. White? Yeah, Brian J. White. This guy did the game plan. You went from this shit to game plan. That was a huge plus over this, because at least that movie was funny, had personality. It didn't have horrendous CGI like this, and it was a Disney movie. He also did 12 Rounds. That was way better than this. Good Deeds, The Cabin in the Woods, Beauty and the Beast TV show. I thought it was Columbus Short, because he looked familiar. Yeah, this guy is better than this. The only black guy in the movie, and he's a joke. He's the comic relief, because they thought all black guys had to be comic reliefs in movies like this. And Jamie Presley, yeah, she's never been a box office draw. Her and Margot Robbie, they're just failures. When it comes to box office, never hits the mark. I love Tomcats, but she's one of the weakest parts of that movie, because she's hot, but, you know, her acting is very minimal for me. Here, she's just not a good lead. She was praised for her performance. Her acting is not the problem. It's just that she's not much of a character. She just can fight because the plot demands it. Rotten Tomatoes, yeah, even though I don't give a shit what they say anymore. With the ridiculous plot and comical acting, oh yes, there was like 2 scenes I laughed out loud, and this is not a comedy. Checking one's brain at the door is required before watching DOA. I needed to check my whole freaking head at the door, because this movie doesn't even feel like it. Yeah, and they say they gave it a favorable review in comparing it to Charlie's Angels. That movie was fun. That movie did not have horrendous CGI like this. That movie had 3 girls that had really good chemistry with none of these shitty accents. Australian or freaking, Colonel Sanders or whatever the hell, the British accent that Matthew Marston had. No, it didn't have horrendous accents like that. That had a budget. That was fun. Both of them. They were negative about Aoki because they say she's soulless. So I'm like, no, she tried her best. Yeah, this movie should not exist. Don't watch this movie. Josh, if you value your sanity, go watch Charlie's Angels again, 2000 or Full Throttle. That's way more realistic than this shit. They're jumping out of planes with bad CGI hang gliders and parachutes. This makes Everything Everywhere All at Once look like a freaking, well, it is an Oscar-worthy movie, but it makes it look realistic compared to this shit. At least that movie is a multi-dimensional jumping film. There's nothing like that in this movie. I wish it would make more sense. But yeah, Tecmo, you should be a bit embarrassed that they made a movie based on your beloved video game franchise. I never played the games, but again, that's only because I didn't have I think this came out on the Xbox or something. I forgot. But I just think that this is an embarrassment. Because the first Dead Alive game was in 1996. I think it was at the arcade. Dead Alive 2 was in 99, and Dead Alive 3 was 2001, and then they had the other ones. Yeah, it was released in the arcade, Sega Saturn, and the PlayStation. Dead Alive 2 was arcade, the Dreamcast, and the PlayStation 2. Dead Alive 3 was on the Xbox and Xbox Live. And you had Dead Alive 4 on the Xbox 360, Dead Alive 5 on the PlayStation 3, 6 on the PS4. Yeah. They should be embarrassed. That beach ball game had more freaking... The beach ball volleyball was a spinoff in 2003. That's better than this freaking movie. At least it's less misogynist. This movie is terrible. Don't freaking watch it. I would recommend you watching something better. Way better. Go watch Transporter, the Charlie's Angels movies. Even Lara Croft Tomb Raider is better than this. The effects were way better. Angelina Jolie was fine in it. She was doing her best. It's not as horribly written as this. This is just atrocious. Just avoid at all costs. Thanks for watching. Take care and screw Dead Alive. It was dead on arrival, if you ask me. See ya.